Okay, on this edition I'm going to be looking at a Craftsman Bushwacker. This is a 19-inch hedge trimmer with a 25cc engine. To get this top off, you got to start by taking this sticker off. You have 4 T25 screws that you got to take out. In fact, T25 is what we'll be using this whole time. Okay, then we got to take our spark plug out. That is a 1/4 inch deep well socket. Then we got to take our carburetor off. There's 2 T25 screws here, or bolts. Take those out. And our carburetor is going to come off. We'll release our throttle cable. That'll come off. Just kind of set that aside. Okay, then our top will come off. You'll see where we need to replace this heat shield. Where it mounts at, it's broken. So I'm going to try to fabricate another piece to stick in there. We don't want the top to burn up on this thing. We got to get those T25 nuts out of there and get those pieces out of there so we can get a new piece in there. But you can see where that broke, probably from 20 years of vibration and running. Or how many ever years it was used. I don't know when the last time this unit was run actually. Okay, we're going to get these mounting screws for the heat shield out of here. You can see those pieces that broke off down there. I'm going to use them in aiding me to draw out a new template. I'm just going to use like a thin piece of, I guess it's like aluminum or sheet metal. Kind of draw it out and just to that shape. Cut it out so at least something will be there to keep that heat off of the cover. Otherwise that thing would sit in there and rattle. It's a common problem with these clippers I've seen before. Or the house brand of Sears is actually Craftsman, or used to be. No more Sears stores anymore. You could have probably walked in a Sears catalog department and ordered that heat shield back in the day. They manufactured these from probably very late 90s through mid 2000s. I'm going to cut this out with a pair of 10 shears. Cut that out to the shape of our old one, and then I'm going to try to drill a couple of holes there so we can get it mounted back in there. And there's our rough cut. Okay, drilling our holes. That should work very nicely. Might have to trim this up just a little bit to get an exact fit here. Okay, I'm going to put my screws back in. I've got everything fitting real well. I think that'll be probably adequate protection there for that top. T25 bolts here. That's our heat shield in place, our replacement fabrication there. Okay, now we need to get this muffler off of here, and we're gonna clean the spark arrestor. Same T25, two nuts there, 2 bolts rather. That's going to come off. It's going to have a gasket behind it there. And we'll put our bolts to the side. Or nuts or bolts. This is our spark arrestor, and we're going to take that screw right there out to get that out. It's a Phillips head. This one's been fairly easy to get off. Sometimes they can be a pain in the butt to get these mufflers off. Just all depends on, I guess, how they've been stored and a lot of other stuff. That's your spark arrestor right there. There's 2 pieces to it. There's a cover for it, and there's your screen. I want to take some carbon choke cleaner or some kind of solvent, brake cleaner, just something that'll break that carbon loose that builds up in that screen. I'm using the gum out carbon choke cleaner for this. I think they were out of the max at Napa. Get that cleaned out real nice, clean your other piece up, and then wipe all this stuff off and make it look nice. Clean our screen out there. It looks pretty good. Just make sure there's no obstructions there. Then we'll clean this gasket off. It's got a little debris on it. I like to put a little bit of grease on these. It makes them last forever. Just work it into the gasket. I'll do that before I put this back on. That's nice and clean of that gunk stuff there anyway. Okay, I got my gasket about ready to go back on there. Okay, to put this thing back together, you see that clip goes back in that housing there, and that reassembles our screen, and then that little clip on the muffler right there. And then we put our Phillips head screw back in there, and we'll be ready to mount this thing back on. Just tighten that up snug. There's your gasket right there, and I'm going to stick my bolts through that, and then we're ready to mount it. We'll take our T25 bit there and get that mounted back up. Nice and snug. Now we're ready to go back on with our top, and reassembly is just as we took it apart. We got our shield back in place, so let's put this unit back together. Look down in the top of it there, that's pretty cool. You can kind of see how the engine drives that gearbox that drives that blade. That's cool. Alright, we got our heat shield replaced. That's where it is, under the broken one there, or the one that come off of it. So we don't need that anymore. So we got that in place. And I previously did a video with this where I installed a 1435 tune-up, like one of those kits you get off of eBay, and I've not fired this up yet since I've done that. And actually the end of this is going to be the same ending as our video about a 1435 or 1439 revival of a Craftsman Bushwacker hedge trimmer. Using 40-to-1 true fuel, we're going to see if this thing fires up, and I'm going to try to adjust the carburetor. To adjust these carburetors, you need a special adjustment tool. You can get these on eBay. You just have to match the tool to what carburetor you're adjusting, if it has the special adjustments for the jets. Okay, I have my adjustment tool. I've got the jets turned out 1 1/4 turns on each one, and I've got the throttle kind of set low, and we'll see where we're at. We give that 6 pumps. And we got our choke on full. Turn our switch to on. That seems to be running just fine with very little adjustment. Actually, my idle's about right, and the jet screws for the high and low seem to be pretty close there. Okay, that's repair of a Craftsman 19-inch 25cc Bushwacker hedge trimmer. Thanks for joining me.